one polarized lens in front of the other, you can still see the light through it. But when you hear polar opposites, when you rotate these 90 degrees, it will go pitch black and you will not be able to see through the lens anymore. Hopefully that you can see that effect. Okay, let's start cutting the left lens. Flip that over to left and hit start. Just like you've seen in the other videos, these calipers are going to come down, and this time they're going to trace the shape of the left side of the frame to make sure that the lens is large enough to fit. Always starting with the rear surface, the back surface, the concave surface. Then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens, the front surface. All the while measuring the thickness of the lens down to 1/10 of a millimeter to know exactly where to place the bevel. So the lens is positioned inside of the frame where you have no edge thickness. Great finished product here. So I'm going to we'll dry your lens off a little bit more here. If you notice, hopefully, I don't know if you can see, I've left that red dot on there. That's where your pupil's going to be inside the frame. So, I'm going to put that in there. Check, and we are dead on. I'm reading -275. Check your astigmatism, and we're at 350. You add the two numbers together. The way your prescription works, your prescription reads -275 -75 at 100. -250 -50 at 100. This is a 4 base, meaning I've flattened out the lens to help with the curvature issues. But the unit of measurement in the optical world is called a diopter, and it starts in quarter increments, starting at 0 being no prescription and going up from there, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1. You're at -275, so you're on the 11th rung of a ladder. You need 11 steps of correction for your right eye. Now this first number, without your glasses on, everything is much larger than it appears in real life. So when you put your glasses on, it will actually minify, which is not a real word. You will not find that in the Webster's dictionary, but is the opposite of magnify. So it will minify down to the correct size. The second number is your astigmatism correction, and you need 3 steps there in addition to right here. It just means you have 2 different curvatures on your eye. Instead of being flat in both parameters, the vertical and the horizontal, you have 2 different curvatures coming inward. I don't know if I can demonstrate that well enough. So this first number gets everything in the correct size. The second number takes away the fuzzy edges. Astigmatism is what makes 6s and 8s and the letters P and F look alike. It is the fine-tune knob. We have to get everything the right size and then fine-tune away the fuzzy edges. This 100, where you're the both and same eyes, is on a scale from 0 to 180, with 90 being in the middle. We're just going to pass 90 and we're going to turn that knob to 100 to make everything nice and crisp. Now your left eye is a little bit better than your right. You only need 10 steps of correction for your left eye. You only need 2 steps instead of 3 steps correction in your left eye also. The first 2 numbers are real values that tell me correct powers. This last number could be anywhere. It's an arbitrary number from 0 to 180. So it's actually rare that you have the same axis in both eyes. Not that that's good or bad, it just is. It's just rare that you ever see that. Like for instance, I'm 141 in my right eye and I think 60 in my left. So just goes to show. Now the way these work, the combined powers, your right eye was at 275. If someone borrowed $2.75 and then borrowed another 75 cents, they would owe you $3.50. That's why the combined power is 3.5, exactly halfway between 3 and 4. So for your left eye, since that's 250 and 50, the final power will be -3. So back to the handstone, back to the safety bevel, back to scraping all that off your lens. Am I past 8 o'clock? Yes, I am. And let's keep scraping, dry everything off. Let's pop this into your frame. It's just weird for me working on a frame and have it bend like that. Normally that's not a good sign. It's okay with this one, I'm just not used to it. So again, I'm going to tuck it in at the outside corner, then using my thumbs, I press down and it snaps into the frame. I just had to work around that little block. Let me use my gripping tool to pull that off of your frame. Stick that back on the magnetic toolbar. Pull that sticker off since it is no longer needed. And since I don't have to rotate the axis wheel, it stays at 100. I'm going to put it in just over that red dot. I'm measuring minus 250, which is halfway between 2 and 3. Check your astigmatism correction, and we're at minus 3, just the way I predicted it. So that is made perfectly. Your pupillary distance is 58. So I'm going to put the 0 on against my thumb on your right lens, and then we hold things over on the left lens. We will read 58. Hopefully my GoPro camera is good enough and you can see that in the light. So that is made correctly. I actually want to remove those red dots from your lenses. So I'm going to use some optical grade acetone, not just the red dots, but the yellow paint that the lab puts on there to orient the polarized lenses. And once all that is cleaned off, I also would like to remind you that 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So if you get these and they're too loose or they're too tight or they're high on one side, just stop by and it only takes a few seconds to get them adjusted. And actually, since these are polarized, let's see if we get some really cool effects visually in the camera. I don't know, are you getting any of that? Can't tell. I can't see what the camera's recording, but usually there's some weird effects. So I just want to make sure they're in a standard alignment, also known as a 3-point stance. 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame is 3. I set them on the counter. There is no wobble. There is dust from me that I've got on there, but I'll clean all that off before shipping. When I say wobble, I have one ear that's higher than the other. In fact, 80% of people do. That's why every pair of glasses have to be adjusted. But from the start, there is no wobble. Flip them over. There is no wobble. I make sure that each temple overlaps perfectly, and they do. This is so cool. So cool. The folding Wayfarer. I wonder if they'll ever do that with the folding new Wayfarer. So that is that, Randall. I really appreciate you purchasing the glasses from me, especially since you said your own doctor said you could not put a prescription in this frame. That's terrible. He went to school for all those years, he or she. I didn't. I went to school for much less time than they did to learn what I'm doing and see how easy it was to do. So that's that. If anyone else has any questions about what I can and can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Randall, I hope you enjoyed watching as I made your prescription glasses, and everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.